you dreadful dolls. Thanks for joining me today. If you are new here, hi, hello, welcome to Dreadfully Dainty Dips, where we do things nail related, such as DIY nails, nail product reviews, and movie, music, and Mandy Mondays. If this sounds like your cup of joe, then please stick around. Let's hang out while I paint a movie mani today. If you can, please show me some love with a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it so much. Now let's dip into the video. Before we jump into today's movie mani, I wanted to let you know that all products and links will be listed in the description box down below. Today we'll be using Dipomania's Marilyn and Zero for a background color, the most stunning red I've ever seen. So, for today, we have a movie mani. Let's talk about 10 things you may or may not know about Terminator. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Terminator. It was a 1984 science fiction action film directed by James Cameron. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, a cyborg assassin sent back from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, whose unborn son will one day save mankind from extinction by a hostile AI in a post-apocalyptic future. Michael Biehn plays Kyle Reese, a soldier sent back in time to protect Sarah. Okay, so number 1. It all began with a dream when James Cameron first began. He was working on the movie Piranha 2, which turned into a nightmare for James because soon he was replaced for clashing with the producers. So as he was staying in Rome, Italy for the release of Piranha 2, one night he really wasn't feeling good and decided to go to bed. Well, that night he had a horrifying dream of a metal skeleton emerging from an explosion and just had to bring that vision to life. So that's where the Terminator was born. Okay, so number 2. Terminator was actually one of the greatest sci-fi thrillers ever made. I mean, just ask my husband. It launched several sequels, a television series, several spin-offs in all types of media, gave us one of Arnold's most famous catchphrases, and made James Cameron one of Hollywood's most bankable directors before he ever made Titanic and Avatar. Okay, so number 3 is sound effects. How the sound effects were made. So the famous Terminator soundtrack was actually composed by Brad, I'm going to butcher this, Fidel, or the Google says Fidel. So I'm so sorry, Brad, if you're listening to this. I totally butchered your name. I apologize. So anyway, using a synthesizer, he created a music piece that represents, in his own words, a mechanical man and his heartbeat. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of bizarre how the most iconic moment from the music isn't a tune or a lyric, but actually a clanging sound. So as crazy as that sounds, it's even crazier that the clank was achieved by Brad bonking a microphone against a cast iron skillet. So just to be clear, one of the most iconic beats in music was created with a frying pan. So let's let that sink in. But that's not the only iconic sound that Brad performed for the movie. Oh no. So the roar that you hear the Terminator make when it's being squashed in the hydraulic press was achieved by Brad and his buddies shouting into a microphone and then playing a synth over it, making it sound even more electronic. That is pretty interesting if you ask me. Okay, so number 4. You kind of heard me say before that the Terminator was like a sci-fi thriller. Well, the Terminator is actually inspired by the Halloween movie. James Cameron knew that the Terminator was going to be kind of like a low budget film, so he took inspiration from John Carpenter's Halloween. I mean, if you kind of think about it, there are a few parallels between the two, like both were meant to be slasher films. Both Terminator and Michael Myers are silent, emotionless serial killers who lurk in the shadows instead of chasing down their prey. And they actually also both, wear masks over their real faces. Okay, number 5. So I found this pretty neat as well. James Cameron actually cameos in his movies, much like Stephen King. So in Terminator 1, you can hear him on Sarah's answering machine and again as the hotel receptionist. In Terminator 2, he does the death shrieks of the T-1000. Okay, so number 6, the fog effect in Terminator 1. So the fog effect in Terminator 1, James Cameron usually spent like weeks setting up pivotal scenes. But for this scene, when Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese leave from under the bridge, actually came by pure chance. So you would assume that this mist was created with like a smoke machine or a similar device. But no. In reality, this fog is nothing more than bug spray. That's right. So during the film, a swarm of flies infested the area, which delayed production. So when the crew realized that they were just running out of time, they would use bug spray to like disperse the insects. The actors were going to wait until the mist subsided, but Cameron kind of felt like it created an atmosphere, and so he decided to keep it in the film. I mean, that kind of blew my mind. Like, were they okay? You know, well, I guess obviously they were. But that's just crazy. Okay, so now we're at number 7. So most of the effects in Terminator 1 were done in camera, that is, with no post-production tricks or, well, then non-existent digital manipulation, along with some stop-motion photography to animate a limping T-800. So the film relied heavily on the use of miniatures as well. So the shot of the skulls being crushed by a tank tread in the opening sequence, the skulls were actually about the size of a marble. The famous tanker truck explosion, 42 separate explosions in a model truck that was 1.5 feet high and 8 feet long. Okay, number 8. Y'all stop me if you knew this, because I totally didn't. So Linda Hamilton's twin sister, that's right. Let's pause here because I totally didn't know that she had one until now. And I find that really neat. Like, do you have a twin? Please let me know down below. You know, like, do y'all like each other? Do you like being a twin? Do you hate being a twin? Let me know. But anyway, in Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton's twin sister Leslie doubles for her sister in the final sequence in the steel mill, and also in a complicated deleted scene in which Hamilton removes the CPU from deep inside the T-800's head. Did y'all know that? That's just crazy. Okay, so, I mean, the Terminator is just full of, like, really neat information. So, we come to number 9. Did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was paid, well, calculated up to $21,000 per word? Per word. Like, what? Okay, so if you do the math, considering he only speaks 700 words throughout Terminator 2, divided into his $15 million salary, every word he says pretty much cost the studio a whopping $21,429. And this figure doesn't even account for the fact that this dude does all of his own stunts for the most part. I mean, again, I'm mind blown. Okay, lastly we have number 10. Filming spanned 20 locations in 2 states. So filming Terminator 2 was a large and expansive process spanning tons of different locations. The film was shot in both New Mexico and California, which included the Mojave Desert, and visited locations like Hollywood, Long Beach, Santa Monica, Palmdale, and Fremont. Many real-life locations rather than sets were used for filming, including the flood channels of San Fernando Valley. One of the most popular scenes of the movie The Terminator 2 we see the Terminator and John riding through the dry flood control channels of Los Angeles and avoiding the pursuing of the T-1000. So actually, a nearby river needed to be redirected in order to ensure that the channels remained dry throughout the lengthy filming process. So the shot in which the T-1000 busts through the barrier and enters the channel is actually located at the intersection of Plummer Street and Havenhurst Avenue. Pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let y'all finish this video, and I will pop back in at the end. Be right back. Okay, so that concludes our 10 things you may or may not know about the Terminator. So that's all I have for you today, dolls. Are you a Terminator fan? I'm sure you are. Which one's your favorite? Because I've kind of heard that Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 were the best, but y'all let me know down below. Also, do you have a movie that you'd like to see me do? Please let me know. And as always, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate each and every one of you dreadful dolls. So don't forget, please like and subscribe. And until next time, bye.